Oh. Oh.
I'm not doing it.
Why that? Put it live. It's Frozen 2 review time.
Yay.
What was the song?
Yeah, there you go.
Nailing it. I'm pretty sure. I can't hear us back, obviously, but I'm pretty sure we're hitting every single note dead on.
Absolutely. Spot on.
Frozen 2 came out today.
It did.
Me and Pete went to see it in a cinema with just loads of kids and
super
families and chatting preteen girls, which is quite annoying. But I'm sure you will have a much better experience if you go to Cineworld. Book your tickets to see Frozen 2 using the link in the video description below. Thank you so much to Cineworld for sponsoring ScreenStalker for these movie reviews. You complete us like Olaf completes Anna and Elsa and the whole gang.
And the gang.
Sven and
Crisotff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one's the moose?
Sven.
Right. I got that wrong. So, we will not be going into spoilers, don't worry.
No.
We're assuming you've seen Frozen 1, though, so there might be, the odd spoiler might creep in for that. It's a really, really fantastic movie.
It's really great.
We walked in there and Pete said, well, I didn't really like Frozen 1. It was
I
fun.
didn't
You said it's fine.
It's fine. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was overblown. I didn't think it was as good as everyone said it was. I thought it was fine.
And what did you say coming out of this movie?
Really good. It's really, really good. I really enjoyed Frozen 2.
I think what it comes down to is Frozen 1 is a story about Anna and Elsa and Elsa. It's very character based, very insular. It's her going on a journey inside of herself.
Yes.
And so is the sequel. It's a huge part of personal exploration and going through changes. The whole film is beautifully set up at the start with Olaf. And this isn't a spoiler, it's in the first scene. He is sunbathing.
Yes.
He's sunbathing and in one of those lines of dialogue that is just hilariously clunky, but I don't care about it in the slightest. It's like, yep, some expositions here to explain why this is working. Anna just gets onto the little picnic quilt with him and goes, oh, how are you enjoying the permafrost? and he's like, it's amazing.
This is everything I ever wanted.
And it's because that's what he sung about in the first movie.
Yeah.
What do snowmen do in summer?
Well, now he knows. It's great. But it's not summer for very long because autumn's coming. And what's autumn?
It's the season of change.
Oh, there's some big changes are coming. So the whole movie is about kind of transformation and, like you said, personal exploration. But what I really liked the most from this movie was it felt like a big, living, breathing world. This didn't really feel like Arendelle and the mountains where Elsa was.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
And that was it. This felt like...
And who are these guys? They're from over there.
There's trolls from, I don't know, over there somewhere. But this felt like you've got Arendelle, you've got the mountains that were there, then you've got the sea, and you've got this other place you need to go to, and this forest, and it felt like... And they had a map at one point, and I'm like, oh, I can actually see, all these places that are actually important. It felt much more fleshed out like a proper world. It did a lot of character building, but also a lot of world building, which I appreciated.
You know what I think that might be, and it's only dawned on me as you're saying it, is the first movie I imagine was written. It's a rip of the. Why wasn't there a rap? Spoiler, because you're gonna be disappointed if you don't know. There's no rapping in any of the songs in Frozen 2.
But
if this was the 80s,
yeah, I know,
every song would have a little rap.
I know. However, there is a power ballad.
Yeah, we'll get on to that. Which is fantastic. Which is really good. The songs overall, it's one of those things. I'm always hesitant. I love musicals, by the way.
I don't.
Do you not?
No, not really.
Oh, like Muppets, La La Land, Les Mis.
Take them or leave them.
Cats. I'm excited for Cats.
You're way too excited for Cats.
What's Taylor Swift?
Taylor Swift as a cat.
In a weirdly erotic cat CGI costume. So what I think happened here is the first movie was a adaptation of the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale of the Snow Queen. And they took that and they're like, well, it's about this story, here's the character, we chart her character, and then we build the world around the character.
Yeah.
And that, that's great. And I really enjoyed how they subverted the idea of a fairy tale to make it more woman-focused as opposed to the knight comes in to save it in the end. We all know how subvertive the first Frozen movie was. Well done, we don't need to go over that again. What this movie has done, though, is I feel like they started with the plot, because they already had the characters. They started with the plot, built the world and the lore and the history and the geography and the maps. They did all that at the same time. And then they're like, now we're going to put our characters through this world and this story.
And what would happen to these characters if they went through this bit? What would happen if they encountered this thing? What would happen to this character if they went through this experience? And that's how the movie came together. And I think it really, really worked on that level. Because like you said, it was very... It's Elsa and friends in the first one. Whereas this one is, you've got the gang that's been made in the first one. How are they going to change? How is this experience going to affect them? And it really works because it all makes sense. Do you agree? Yeah.
Yeah,
it's really good.
It's seeing them go through, and I feel like so the first movie it's like a great first album, right? The second one, this is a more mature. It's not second album syndrome. It's like, you've taken this in a really interesting direction. You said something really interesting when we came out, and that was when we went into the cinema. You thought Frozen 2 was a bit of a cash grab.
Yeah. Totally. I was like, there doesn't need to be a Frozen 2. They've only done it because Frozen was so popular in the first place. But then after it came out, I was like, wouldn't be opposed to a Frozen 3. Totally. Because they've built the world now. They've built the lore into it. They've built the history. I'm like, actually, I kind of want to see more about this world that they've built now. Because now that they've, the characters have gone through their change and they've been interacting with the world, I want to see more of it.
And, I mean, you see it in the trailer. Elsa gets a badass steed.
Totally.
That's so cool. Like,
it is rad.
When the whole scene, and it was in like one of the first trailers. It wasn't cut together like a normal trailer.
I think the first trailer, yeah.
It's her running at the sea. She needs to get past this dark ocean. She's all by herself. No dialogue, because it's just her. And she runs at the sea, and she tries to run over it using her ice powers, making little stepping stones. And she gets wiped out by a wave. And then it goes to black, comes up. There she is. She's wet now. She tries it again. Just like this really amazing scene. And then by the end of it, she gets this water pony.
Yeah, essentially.
Effectively. And she's galloping across the ocean. And I genuinely thought, that's a bit iconic. Like, I could see that being a clip that Disney use in a video package 10 years from now.
To say, look how great Disney is. Look at all the things we own.
Like, it was really quite stunning to see that happen.
And, of course, we should probably mention, animation in this is incredible. It's a beautiful film. I wouldn't expect anything less at this point. But, yeah, if you're expecting a really well-animated film, you're going to get it. It's some of the stuff in this is genuinely beautiful. Yeah. Like, it's really, really well done. But, that's to be expected at this point.
To the extent where... And the story's really engrossing, and the characters are very funny and play off each other. I would sit back and still go, bloody hell, that's good.
Yeah.
Like in terms of just like the little things, the way the ground looked at one point when Anna was on the floor, I was just like, that looks like a real ground.
Yeah. There was one point when, right at the start of the movie, it pans away from, I can't remember, I think it might have been Elsa or something, and it looks up at the sky and there's like northern lights going across it, and I'm like, that looks real. Like that looks like an actual northern lights right there. It's really, really cool.
And that's a tricky balance to take because you don't want to make it look too real because then you get into uncanny valley territory. And
then you get into the Lion King.
Yeah. And the mind goes, no, I don't like this now. But they always kept that balance perfect.
Yeah.
The character animation it's weird because you look at Elsa and Anna, they're sisters, obviously. They're just there. If you take away their hair, facially, they're so similar.
One's got more freckles.
But the freckles, and I was looking at them a lot. I think Elsa's eyes are just a little bit more pressed down, which she is a bit more of a tormented character. To have a furrowed brow makes sense. Just little things like that. So I guess the basic plot of the movie, is just to sell you on it. Is Elsa's now queen? Everything's going hunky dory. Everyone's really happy. But Olaf is worried about change.
Olaf's older and wiser now.
Yeah. And Olaf's trajectory from very innocent first movie character. Now he's essentially like, oh, I have knowledge. I have been given a life. And he starts to ask very existential, philosophical questions, which are a source of much comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's almost like a robot that's been given a personality.
Yeah.
And now he's realizing his own mortality, but he doesn't quite know what mortality means.
Exactly.
And that happens in a song, just like Whatever Snowmen Do in Summer. It's not as good as that, but in this movie, he does a song of... which is effectively, everything's really scary right now. I don't know what's going on, but it'll be fine when I grow up and I can look back at this and I understand everything because adults know everything.
Which is obviously a very naive thing that children think. They think all the adults know everything, so it's a funny joke for the adults to get, but also a kind of a relatable thing for the kids to grasp onto as well. It's very well done. Very, very well done. In terms of songs... there's some really good ones in this one. I didn't really rate too many of the Frozen 1 ones. I know you've said there's some bangers.
Do you want to build a snowman?
Is iconic, for sure.
And Let It Go. I think you're being a contrarian over that.
Overrated. It's a good song. It's not the greatest song ever.
Well, but on the comedy songs and stuff that, it's such a trite thing to say, but there's something for the adults in this movie.
Yeah, true.
Take your kids along to it. But there actually is. And that is...
The Power Ballad!
Me and Pete were pissing our pants
We
at this one.
were laughing so much at this song. So, there's a moment in the film where... should we say which character it is, or no?
No, we can say it was Olaf or Sven.
What?
Oh, no, it's neither.
It's neither
Gustav.
of those.
It's Gustav.
Nope.
The guy.
Yeah.
Sven.
Crisotff.
Crisotff.
I thought you were doing it on purpose there.
It's Crisotff.
Yeah.
And he's emotional.
Yes. For reasons, he's emotional. He decides to cut this amazing power ballad about a very serious subject, and the emotion behind it is very genuine in the movie. However, the way it's animated is like a very kind of over-the-top 80s power ballad with all these amazing shots of him and the wind blowing his hair back, and all of this amazing iconography in it, and it is so funny. Yeah. And it's not played to be funny, but the adults watching it would say that's hilarious because it's just so goofily done. But the kids would still understand the emotion behind it as well. It's so well done.
Yeah, I think a young child watching it will get a quite emotional message. Oh, he's sad.
Yeah.
But the adults know that this is a complete parody of 80s power ballads. There's even a bit where they do it's Crisotff with a load of
reindeer
behind him, like the Queen Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah,
video.
I noticed that. Yeah, it was great.
And that's a remarkable thing to achieve, to have one age group go, oh, poor Crisotff, poor Gustav, and then everyone else rolling in the aisles with laughter. Yeah. I couldn't hear anyone else laughing.
No, it was just us. I don't know if we're the only one. Maybe it wasn't a parody. Maybe we've just found comedy where it wasn't supposed to be.
No, I think that's very clearly comedy. But yeah, they so the thing is, Arundel, which is a lovely place in Surrey or Sussex, I can't remember.
Yeah, totally.
But also the name of the sort of town that they
Kingdom.
live in. Kingdom, that's better.
Queendom, I guess.
That is under threat by the elements. These elements that have been asleep for forever and ever. Well, for 35 years or something. Mm-hmm. They have woken up and now they're causing a bit of havoc. And they have to go literally into this enchanted forest, into the woods. There's a fantastic book on screenwriting that's called Into the Woods. It's a what's the guy who does all the hero's journey stuff? Joseph Campbell. The mythology of the hero goes into the woods, they encounter something, that becomes part of them, overtakes them, becomes too much. And then they have to find a balance bit in between for the final third of the movie, and they come out of the woods a changed person. All that stuff is explicitly said. Olaf keeps saying they say forests are a place of transformation. Yeah. I don't know what transformation means, but I'm curious to see how each one of us will change. So it's very self-reflexive in that regard.
Yeah.
But in a way that's not in your face. It's a really well-toned movie in that regard.
And I would say it's funnier than the original Frozen as well. I think the original Frozen relied on a lot on kind of slapstick and a lot of more childish jokes, obviously, because it's more of a kids movie. I think this one has a more just generally funny tone throughout, despite still being very serious as well at various points. I found a lot more humor in this movie than I did in Frozen 1. So I think if you go watch it, it's a funny movie. Objectively, it is funny. So.
And Pete, that's not the only emotion.
Oh, man. Don't get me started on this.
Both me and Pete cried.
We didn't actually cry.
I had a tear.
You actually cried. I welled up at the end. It was quite emotional because towards the end of the movie, obviously we're not going to say what happens because that is spoiler territory, but there was multiple things that happened, one after the other, that just led into this big kind of, oh, that's amazing. Oh, and then it's just this overwhelming emotion that comes over you when all the things happen one after the other. So, yeah, it gets a bit emotional towards the end. It's cool. Yeah. It's nice.
Yeah. So this is true in the theater. That on the second thing, so I broke before Pete did. The second thing happened, and I was trying. I thought I was keeping it together, but then my mouth just went like that.
And I did hear it, but I thought you were just like you had a cough or something, had something in your throat.
And I was crying, and I just kind of went. To see if Pete had seen or like, and you didn't look at me because I was really worried you were going to look at me, at which point you would have seen this tear going down my cheek. But yeah, it's that the more I think about it, the more comparable it is to Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 2 in terms of Frozen and Frozen 2. In that Toy Story is fantastic.
Yeah,
a lot of people say Toy Story 2 is better.
I don't know about that. I prefer Toy Story 1. But
yeah, and then same here. Yeah, if I was to pick any, I'd pick Toy Story 1, 3, and then 2 possibly.
Yeah,
but that's not to say Toy Story 2 is bad. I think it's incredible, and it's like one of the best sequels ever made.
Yeah,
in one of the best trilogies ever made, arguably the best trilogy ever made.
Oh, that's a
what would you put? Like Return of the Jedi?
Totally. Yeah, not, actually.
Yeah,
Lord of the Rings. No, I genuinely can't think of a better trilogy.
I think I've been struggling. I think Toy Story might be the best trilogy ever made.
Oh no. I've just seen that my lady partner's in the chat and just said, Pete cried!
Do you not usually cry at movies?
Not at all. No, not at all.
You have been drinking, though.
Wait, what? No, I haven't.
So yeah, if you're curious, like, but is Frozen 2 as good as the first one? Or if you didn't like Frozen 1, I think that's Toy Story 2 fleshed out that world a bit more. You went to the toy stores, you saw Al's Toy Barn and stuff, the collectors, the airport. And that's what Frozen 2 feels like in comparison to Frozen, in that step up to compensate for the lack of, not freshness, but it's not the first movie.
Yeah.
So.
I think overall, though, it was a fantastic movie. I had a really good time watching it. Chances are I'm going to watch it again with my lady partner, probably. And yeah, I don't think I'm going to complain if I do. So yeah, I really, really fun. I think it's a fun time for pretty much anyone who wants to go. It's just a fun movie to watch.
Lovely time with the girls.
Lovely time with the chatty girls that were sitting behind us.
Oh no, I was talking about Anna and Elsa.
Oh yeah, but I was talking about the chatty girls that were behind us.
My lady
who were taking selfies. Why do you take selfies in a cinema, you morons?
My lady partner hasn't seen the first movie.
Oh, really?
So I might make her watch it this weekend, and then we can go to a Cineworld
to
watch the second one. Get your tickets using the Cineworld link in the top of the video description below. Let's just do some super chats because they've come through. Mega Mr. 46, a la Wendy. Ooh, Elsa.
Oh, God. It's kind of creepy, honestly.
Helloves23. It's Frozen time with the boys.
Frozen time with the boys. Hell yeah.
And
Frozen time with the gals.
appropriately a wrestling question from Billy Goldman.
Nice.
On this Frozen movie chat. CM Punk returns when Valve released info on a new Half-Life game. Coincidence? I think not.
Half-Life 3 confirmed.
But yes, thank you ever so much for everyone who's jumped across on the streams to enjoy our brilliantly thumbnailed Frozen 2 review.
It's one of the worst thumbnails I've ever made. I was rushed, okay?
Get your tickets to see the movie at Cineworld by using the link below. And for now, please click the videos that have just appeared on the desk to catch up on the latest awesome ScreenStalker things. And thank you to Cineworld for sponsoring this episode. I've been Ollie Davis. This has been Chopper Pete Quinnell. And that was some movies.